Welcome to History's Echo, unearthing the world's oldest stories. Today we venture into the heart of the jungle, into a hidden world beneath the canopy, to unearth a secret that rewrites history. Imagine laser beams slicing through endless green, uncovering streets, plazas, canal systems, a mega-city lost for millennia. This is the tale of how advanced technology and daring archaeology revealed a civilization once believed impossible in the heart of the Amazon. Let's dive in. Darkness, endless green, a forest so dense that sunlight fights its way down only in shards. The sound of leaves, insects, the distant cry of monkeys, and beneath it all a secret sleeping for centuries. Our story begins with a question long whispered by explorers. Could the Amazon jungle really hide a city? For decades, scholars believed the Amazon basin to be lightly inhabited before Europeans arrived. Small riverbank tribes, mobile hunter-gatherers, no grand cities. But that belief began to fracture. In the eastern foothills of the Andes, in the valley of the Upano Valley in Ecuador, archaeologist Stephen Rostaine quietly pressed through the forest, machete in hand, surveying mounds and ridges. He found traces of something unusual: earthworks, platforms, signs of human landscaping, but nothing like a city. Until LiDAR came. This is where lasers mounted on aircraft changed everything. The technology known as LiDAR, light detection and ranging, sends pulses of light, penetrates the canopy, and reveals the underlying terrain in 3D. One survey flight over the valley suddenly lit up a tapestry of streets, plazas, and causeways. The jungle didn't hide a few huts. It hid an entire network of urban design. The moment came when the dense green simply gave way to lines and grids in the dataset. Straight roads cutting through forest, giant earthen platforms, rectangular plazas. It looked like a city map buried for millennia. Rostaine recalled, "On foot we saw a fraction. With LiDAR we saw everything. And so our journey begins. Not in a temple, not in a ruined plaza, but in the sky, above the canopy, where light mapped the impossible." Imagine a helicopter or drone flying at 200, 300 feet above the treetops. Underneath the blades, lasers fire thousands of pulses per second. Some penetrate gaps in the leaves, some bounce off branches. Many eventually hit the ground. The resulting point cloud is processed into a digital elevation model. The trees removed virtually, and suddenly you see bumps, mounds, ridges, rods of earth that are not natural. In the Upano Valley, that map revealed a sprawling settlement. Thousands of rectangular earthen platforms, some just a meter high but stretching for tens of meters. Causeways, canals, roads radiating through forest. One analysis reported more than 6,000 rectangular platforms connected by road networks. These features rivaled well-known ancient cities. Yet in the Amazon, the sheer scale stunned archaeologists. In the region of the Casarabe culture in Bolivia, LiDAR revealed major settlements with water management systems, causeways stretching for kilometers, and a level of labor investment comparable to Andean cities. What does this tell us? The map shows a planned landscape. Streets weren't random, water was managed. People lived in villages and towns connected by roads. The Amazon, once thought marginal for complex societies, had been urban and massive. For our US audience, imagine the scale of a mid-sized American city hidden beneath jungle. Streets 15 m wide and 5 m deep were found in Ecuador. This wasn't mere clustering of huts, it was engineered, structured, civilized. The sky map revolutionizes our view of American history. Before the Europeans arrived, vast civilizations thrived not just in the Andean highlands or Mesoamerica, but deep in the rainforest. Let's step into this city. Under the canopy, you'd see nothing obvious. On the ground, you might walk past trees and think maybe someone lived here. But high above, the grid emerges. Platforms, plazas, canals, straight roads. The mega-city reveals itself. In the Upano Valley, one stretch covered roughly 600 kilometers in the scan area. Imagine city blocks, however, formed of earth rather than stone. Flat mounds where buildings stood, courtyards, meeting places. Houses may not have been made of stone, but of wood and organic material, long since collapsed. The footprint remains. Water management. In Bolivia, for example, trenches and canals were built to drain floodwaters or trap fish behind embankments. These features show the landscape was shaped for food, for settlement, for permanence. Population estimates vary, but such networks could have walked thousands of people. In one discussion, at least 10,000 farmers and more may have lived in such Amazonian settlements. Meanwhile, platforms and causeways in Bolivia moved hundreds of thousands of cubic meters of earth. This challenges the idea that the Amazon jungle was an untouched wilderness until Europeans. Instead, it was a shaped environment: cities, farms, roads, hidden in plain sight. And that means rewriting our textbooks. The history of the Americas is far more urbanized, far more complex than we thought. How did such a city arise in the rainforest? Let's walk through its life cycle, from clearing trees, building earthworks, to functioning metropolis. First, clearing and shaping. The forest had to be altered. Platforms were built by moving earth. In one site, a base platform covered 99,795 meters, with a volume of 276,000 m3 of earth moved. Roads and causeways radiated out, connecting settlement clusters. In Bolivia sites, a 7-kilometer canal brought water from a lagoon to a major center. Second, settlement and economy. The presence of canals and managed fisheries shows agriculture and aquaculture were central. Raised fields, enriched soils, terra preta, managed forests all show a dynamic economy. There were plazas for gathering, platforms suggesting social centers, and landscapes shaped for people to live there year-round. Third, influence and decline. Why did these cities flourish? Good soils, managed water, engineered environment. Why did they fade? The rainforest reclaims everything. Wood decays, structures collapse, trees rise again. Also, climate change, resource exhaustion, disease or contact might play a role. The point, these societies were dynamic, not static. For American history, these cities show that pre-European America was far richer in urban networks than previously believed. The New World was not just a series of indigenous tribes and small villages. No, in places like the Amazon, it was a web of cities and landscapes. Our drama now shifts to modern times. Decades of fieldwork, thick bush, recorders, machetes. But nothing prepared the archaeological community for what LiDAR would unveil. In 2021-24, studies in Ecuador's Upano Valley revealed for the first time the full extent of the settlement network. Rustain and others had surveyed by foot for decades. They found mounds, but they lacked the full map. Then LiDAR flights and the transformation. Suddenly, thousands of mounds became visible as part of a coherent system of cities, roads, waterworks. In Bolivia, the Casarabe culture settlement system compelled scientists to say, "We are dealing with tropical low-density urbanism, a proper urban scale in the Amazon." Headlines followed. Lost cities of the Amazon discovered from the air. For the world, it was a new paradigm. The forest was no longer a blank slate. It was a palimpsest of human endeavor. That's the moment our understanding of American history shifted. The jigsaw pieces rearranged.